Hello everyone, welcome back to the Great Edge Workshop, talking about pre-inspection of knives before sharpening tonight. I don't often show customer knives on camera. Usually I'm working with the knives that I own, the ones that I have kicking around the workshop that do all of my tests and trials and experiments and things. These guys have a hard life because they only ever really get messed with. But just by coincidence, two sets of customer knives working on today, and both had some interesting features that I don't normally come across with sharpening, but it was picked up as I was preparing to do the job, and I thought I would share with you. So first one here, this is Tamahagane. I'm probably totally mispronouncing that, but a beautiful set of Japanese knives made in Japan, brought in by a customer. It came in on a roll. But if you watched my video a couple back on how to set edge angles on a Tormek, I was very open about different ways that you could approach it using the angle finder, the Sharpie method, or something more advanced, something more technological. Here's an example where the Sharpie method actually probably wouldn't work, and I don't even know the primary bevel on this is so small that I don't know whether the camera's even gonna pick it up. So putting a black mark on there and then trying to scrub it off is going to be almost useless. Or I think there would be a lot of you could be wrong by a couple of degrees and not be able to pick it up with the Sharpie method. So I was really lucky that the knife, as I mentioned, the knives came in a roll, in a leather knife roll, and along with it, this sort of technical paperwork, dropping it all over the place here, that mentioned that the knives were sharpened with a 14 to 15 degrees per side edge angle. So that's straight from the manufacturer. So I thought for this customer, and knowing the way they like to work, I thought I would go on the lower side. So I set everything up to 14 degrees per side, and lo and behold, it didn't take me too long, too many passes, about 8 per side, until I was able to raise a burr. So it indicates that yes, probably the knives were 14 to 15, but 14 to 15 degrees per side when they left the factory. But that is just such a tiny bevel on there that I don't see. I think that the Sharpie method would be a little bit let down by there. So careful pre-inspection helps me get to a good result fairly quickly. I would have got there eventually, of course, by any technique, but it's nice to be able to find the finish line in the most efficient way when you're sharpening. Second is from a set of globals. I see a lot of globals in my workshop. Also Flint and Flame, which is a local UK maker, but particularly globals seem to come to me a lot. And these ones were interesting because I'm not sure how they'd been sharpened before they got to me. The edges weren't a mess. I mean, to the naked eye, they looked okay. But what was really peculiar with these, when I was checking them before sharpening, was that I could feel a burr on both sides of the knife. And now that probably doesn't actually mean that there was a burr on both sides necessarily, but that the steel along the apex was quite disorganized. And I actually took a microscope image of the edge before sharpening, and I took one after, and I'll put those up on the camera now as I'm speaking through the magic of YouTube and technology. You can see on the before image there is quite a lot of what I call disorganized steel on the bevel. And the process of sharpening, and particularly the process of honing, is really dealing with creating some order and organization to that steel. And that's part of what gives you not only a sharp edge, but a long-lasting edge. And I've been talking about a honing video for a while. It is going to be my next one coming out, so stay tuned for that. But honing really is about organizing and cleaning that up. But I thought that was a really unusual thing, and I can't recall the last time that I found that, where before setting out on a sharpening job, I could detect a burr, or what seemed like a burr, on both sides of the knife. And it actually took me a little while, a little bit of grinding, to get it so that I had a burr just on one side. So had I not done that pre-inspection, I probably would have been scratching my head a little bit, because I would do 1 or 2 passes, feel a burr, okay, that's going well, but then the burr is also present on the other side. So yeah, unusual circumstance. You may never have come across that. You may never come across it in the future. But I just wanted to make the point and reinforce the point to take a little bit of time, especially when you're dealing with customer knives. Take a little bit of time before you start sharpening just to get to know and understand where you're starting from to help you reach the finish line more quickly. Thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.